Hey everyone, David Rishpan here again with you on YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about transcription, why we transcribe, the questions I don't think we ask enough when we're in the process of transcription, the reasons I transcribe, all of those things. So if you enjoy the content on this channel, please click like and subscribe. I know everyone asks you to do it. I know I've asked you to do it in every video. It really indeed helps the channel, and a lot of you are still not yet subscribed, so please click all those little buttons below the video. All right, let's get into it. So for me, there's really three reasons to transcribe. There's three things that kind of motivate me when I'm listening to something to come to the decision of, oh, that's something I want to learn, that's something I want to transcribe, or when it comes to suggesting transcriptions to my students. The first thing is what I call language or vocabulary, and it would be the same. I often use linguistic metaphors when I teach, but it's the same thing of you're learning a language or you read a book and you discover a new word and you go look it up in the dictionary and you want to start understanding that word and that concept, that kind of lexicon. You're building your vocabulary, and it could be another example would be if it's a genre you're not familiar with, but you need to learn it for a concert or a gig. Really go deep and transcribe that particular genre so that you have the vocabulary to speak that language properly. The same way actors get dialect coaches for certain roles. It's kind of the same thing. So the first reason to transcribe something is to build vocabulary. Uh, is it something that's more straight ahead? Is it something that's a little more experimental, a little more outside, as we sometimes say, a little more atonal? Is it a type of playing that I don't have in my vocabulary yet? Is it something I want to refine? Is it something I want to get deeper into in my playing? In the lockdowns over the past 4 years, I realized I haven't been playing a lot of bebop. I haven't been playing a lot of straight ahead. And I went back and revisited that music that was really important to me and really motivated me at a certain point in my life, but it's not the music I actively play these days. And actually, without the uh, deadline of a gig, because we were all stuck at home, without that deadline and without that pressure, I was able to go and revisit music that I didn't need to learn under a tight deadline, music that had always motivated me and interested me, but I didn't need to learn it to performance level necessarily. So that's reason number one, is to get vocabulary. Reason number two is that there is some kind of challenge or some kind of lesson in what I'm being motivated to transcribe. Maybe it's a technical passage, a very fast double time passage that I currently don't have the technique to really conquer and play. Maybe it's something rhythmic that I don't entirely understand, some kind of subdivision, or maybe it's in an odd meter and I don't fully comprehend how they're dividing that odd meter up. Maybe it's a harmonic thing where they're playing a series of extensions or alterations or advanced harmonic things that I don't personally hear yet in my own inner ear and my own harmonic knowledge. So I want to get that from the transcription, from the solo that I am being motivated to transcribe. Once we've transcribed the solo, once we have the solo written down on the page or we've learned it and memorized it, that's really the beginning of the journey, which gets me to the third question or the third stage of transcribing, which is the analysis. And I know analysis sounds like a really heavy uh, intellectual term. It's not just enough to learn the lick and then that's it. That's really the beginning of the process. The analysis is understanding what are the intervals, what is being played, if it's a harmonic consideration, what are the intervals, what are the extensions, what are those notes in relationship to the chord, and why does it work emotionally, why does it resonate with you, why did it interest you, and transpose it to all 12 keys and really get a grip on why that particular harmonic or rhythmic or whatever the idea is. Why does it work? How does it work? Is it working to build tension? Is it working as a resolution? Is it the first thing the soloist plays? Is it the last thing the soloist plays? Is it a way to reach the climax? Is it a way to wrap up the solo? Is it a send off, a handoff to the next soloist? What function is it playing? All of these questions, in really picking apart why it works and how it works, is how the material we transcribe and the vocabulary we're transcribing kind of transcend just being something we've learned and become part of our own playing. There's a difference, there's a real emotional fundamental difference between a player that sounds like they've transcribed a bunch of stuff and is just playing back copy paste licks that they've learned, versus someone who has also transcribed a lot of stuff but has really done the work to assimilate it into their playing, and it feels so natural, but it's also very clear that they've checked out a lot of music. um I am going to break down that Chris Potter solo on Lingus. That video is coming, I promise. It's just a lot of work. um but there's elements in that solo, in Chris Potter's solo on Lingus, which I will link there as well as in the description. um there are elements in that solo that harken back to Eddie Harris, that harken back to Coltrane. And those are things that, because I've listened to Eddie Harris and Coltrane as well, that when Chris Potter plays it in his solo, I know that that's a reference. I know what that's referring to. I know where he's getting it from. And so if that were something that I wanted to explore more, then I would go back to Eddie Harris. I would go back to Coltrane and then get more of it from the source. You know what I mean? Another consideration is that, especially in Black American music, especially for saxophone and for vocals, there's a lot of stuff that can't be properly notated. There's a lot of things that can't be properly notated. And this is a challenge I am facing in preparing this upcoming video. Is some of the devices Chris Potter is using to ramp up tension and to uh, develop his solo are things that have no Western notation, things that are frankly impossible to notate. As a keyboardist transcribing a saxophone solo, I have no idea how to notate or document that. Things that are about the tonality or the sound of the saxophone, things that only saxophonists can do, you know. And the beauty of transcribing other instruments is that then it becomes a challenge for us. How do we adapt that to the instrument that we play? How do we adapt the sonic characteristics of one instrument and the way they generate tension and develop their solos? How do we adapt that to our own instrument? All right, that's going to wrap it up for this lesson. I realize that was a lot of talking and a lot less playing than I've been doing on this channel lately, but I think it's really important that we're clear on our goals when we embark upon the journey of transcribing and learning other people's solos, learning new material, and understanding how we can really deeply integrate it into our own musicianship and our own playing. Again, if you like the content on this channel, if you like lessons like this, please click like and subscribe, and click the bell notification to be notified when I post new videos and new content. Thank you so much for watching. My name's David Rishpan. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.